you? Welcome to Possible Live. And welcome back if you're joining us again. And if you haven't joined us before, I'm the virtual toast girl. And we have an amazing, talented repeat guest who I've had the pleasure of meeting him. And I laugh all the time because I always do this. I mute my phone and it's excited that Michael's here. And we're excited that you're here. So sit back, relax for a little bit, maybe grab a pen and a piece of paper. Let us know where you're from. Let us know a way we can help you. And this one is for you and for Michael. So Michael and I, this is our 20th Alchemy event. And we're not sure how we got there. So thank you for that.
Cheers.
Cheers. And this week we'll celebrate our 20th LinkedIn audio. And one of the fun parts about hanging out with Michael is that I had the pleasure of meeting him a little bit over 4 years ago in an amazing group run by a fabulous woman I had the opportunity to see present as a panelist. So totally remote, totally somebody I met live. And I met Michael on LinkedIn because of this wonderful smiling headshot he had during a presentation or amazing headshot. You'll see it from his fabulous photo in our graphics. And I read his bio and I was like, oh, wow. Hey, Karan, how are you? Thanks for joining us. And Karan is one of our fabulous I'm Possible Live guests, as well as one of our fabulous Event Alchemy supporters. Karan has an event coming up this weekend. We're going to talk to you about that a little bit more. But back to Amazing Michael. I started open houses, and this amazing gentleman came supportive, wonderful smile, and really just a LinkedIn direct message conversation. And I've been on LinkedIn for a while. I had no idea about the power of direct messages, but the universe sent this amazing man. And I had the pleasure finally, 4 years later, and you should see all the hearts coming up. I know. It's a Michael thing. But we finally just met after 4 years, a couple of weeks ago. Funniest part is that I passed Michael's exit on the thruway going to see my parents and family. Sean, Michael, great seeing you twice in one day. Welcome to our Possible Live, and thank you for joining us. And Michael and Sean, if it doesn't happen today, I need to introduce the two of you. I just had a chance, Michael, to meet Sean face-to-face on a Zoom run by amazing Kimberly Lechnick. But back to Michael. This man has multiple talents. He joined me during an open house. Great energy, thoughtful listener. And I'm laughing. We both find out. We're from, Michael calls it the Bronx. I call it the Bronx. I'm dating myself. Got a few years on him. He's a wonderful gentleman. But in a lovely way, it's the reminder of the intersecting circles, and we meet people and you're not really sure where it's going. And during one of my open houses, I had the pleasure of introducing Michael to a fabulous woman I had just started mentoring. He took such exquisite care of her. And still, I didn't really talk to him about his magical self. So I've watched him present many times, online, in person. And he's not blushing yet. So I'm going to stop for a second, though. And I'm going to let him speak for his wonderful, wonderful self and tell you a little bit more about the magic of Michael.
Well, thank you, Mel. It's a pleasure to be here with you this afternoon. Thinking back and reflecting on like when we met and how we met at that time, fast forward until now, it's been fantastic to have so many interesting experiences offline, in the Zoom world, online, as to say, And then finally to meet you in person, that was like a treat. And, I'm sure a lot of other folks have experienced this where you've been online for a number of, days, months, years, and then you finally see the person outside of that, constricting rectangle on the screen. And it's like, oh my gosh, they take shape, they take form. This person's real 3D. So that's amazing. Um, so yeah, I think it's great on how we met and how we're still working together. And this particular project, I don't know what we want to call it, Event Alchemy is, I think, the thing that I'm really excited about in working with you. And, we're creating like a platform for folks to share their experiences. Of course, we're talking about what we're, bringing up as topics related to events, but um, I love to have other folks chime in and, offer up what they're running into, some of the questions that they've had, their experiences, and just sharing, each other's knowledge and reflecting on those things. So I'm really loving that Event Alchemy. But to tell you a little bit about my background, from the Bronx. You may or may not hear it in my accent. I'm not sure, but I'm a marketing strategist and consultant. I have my own marketing practice, and I work with businesses, nonprofits, solo entrepreneurs, and really help them get their marketing off the ground and get customers. So that's what I do. And other times I'm training business leaders and marketing teams. And yeah, so that's a little bit about me. Other things I could share is two other organizations I want to mention really quickly. The American Marketing Association. I'm a former president of one of our local chapters here in the Capital Region. Great group to be connected to. And the Rochester Professional Consultants Network, which I'm currently president of. Want to give a shout out to those groups. So happy to be here with you, Mel.
What I'm loving is checking out the chat is that three of our amazing guests from our event Alchemy icebreakers and games to liven up your event are here with us on the back end, at least on LinkedIn. And Karan's reminding us, Karan says reality versus virtual. She'll take real hands down. For those who may not know the mix in the title, live. Hey, TC, how are you? Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. Michael and I are celebrating today, and at the moment, TC and Lisa are traveling the farthest, so we're toasting to them both. Warm welcome back, TC, and warm welcome, Lisa. And one of the coolest parts in our title today, Event Alchemy Hybrid, is the mix of live and in person. And I've hosted a retreat where people were with us in person and other people joined us via Zoom. And we broke the wall of our live guests coming in to pop in to meet our virtual guests and vice versa. And did that and created a community called Be Visible at the time, which morphed into Be Visible Chefs, which became totally virtual during the pandemic. And it's just an opportunity to kind of build community and bridge the live and the virtual. The live became challenging during the pandemic, and I was grateful before the pandemic to have hosted a hybrid event. People thought I was nuts, but we started with a networking event on day one to kind of bridge the gap. We took over a restaurant during happy hour and didn't realize how great the food was, and it ended up being dinner. And about 15 or 16 of us ended up having a fabulous dinner together until they threw us out. And then the next day we had, I called it a VIP day. We called it Cultivate, where we were in a real learning mode, learning from each other, and kind of VIP day. And of course it poured about 3 inches of rain in one day. So I'm grateful to everybody who made it there safely. And then the next day we had the day where exquisite Eve Voyeveda, for those of you who have met her, Eve traveled the farthest from Kyiv, and we took over a small theater, a paranormal theater in the Hudson Valley, and had really big dreams behind the event. So that's the reason why hybrid is a passion. And people laughed because the virtual space I probably have been in for over 9 years now. And the live, Michael has such a deep expertise. Hi, Kimberly. Welcome. Fabulous to see you. Thank you for joining us. And we're going to keep toasting because this is our 20th event, Alchemy event, although we'll celebrate our 20th audio on Thursday. So cheers to you all. I hope you are cool and hydrating. And as Michael said, Event Alchemy is a place where we kind of encourage you. And I'll let Michael do this part because I love Michael's voice when he says it. Michael, let him know about Event Alchemy.
Absolutely. So yeah, Event Alchemy really is a place. Maybe it's a time that we all get together and we have these wonderful conversations. It's not meant to be a training per se. It's not meant to be, a time for Mel and I to get on stage and just talk for an hour. It really is, we're creating an environment, a platform for folks to hop in and, just jump around the circle and we just share some ideas and bounce things off of each other. Of course, we're utilizing some of our own experiences and talking about specifically all things related to events, event marketing, event organization, communications as it relates to events, how to do things like stay, I would say, connected and engaged with your audience. So all these wonderful topics. And for folks that are new to events, they come and they fill up their notebooks. I've heard it myself, with lots of notes. And even folks that have been experienced for a long while creating their own events, there are also always some interesting takeaways. I know I'm filling up pages of notes from a lot of the good insights that people bring. So yeah, and we've been doing it since November, December. We're coming up on our 20th show, and yeah, we invite people to the stage and they just bring their thoughts and we have a great conversation.
One of the things I love too is, besides the exchange of ideas and tips and insights, is that people who are joining us, we're encouraging them to share their events in the comments. It's probably one of the differences. Like Caron is here, and Caron, I know you sent me a great write-up on your wonderful event earlier. And for those of you who joined us last week for the audio, how to liven up and add games and icebreakers to liven your event. Caron shared her amazing event that's coming up on Saturday, the 10th. She's having a wonderful, amazing circle. Caron, I have had one of those Roadrunner days, and I probably need you to reshare your event in chat. But she's having an event she's co-hosting if you're in crispy Georgia and hopefully relatively dry Georgia after the weather systems pop up. She's having an amazing family-friendly event geared towards affirmations, and it's a wonderful circle. That'll be on Saturday. I'm going to encourage Caron to share the link in the chat. We also have amazing TC, and TC is another guest of Event Alchemy, and TC always has a live going on, a training, whether it's on Clubhouse or LinkedIn or Zoom. And one of the things I love too about Event Alchemy, this was a dream from a couple of years ago, and I wasn't really sure how it fit. And I'm delighted. I want to thank you, Michael, for really not just accepting an invitation to collaborate, but just for a chance kind of to come out and play. I was laughing because Fred Diamond had a cool post today where he's asking, who do you find on LinkedIn who you're collaborating with? And I was delighted to thank Michael. But I think that bridge in events where you're either showing up as an attendee, you may be an event professional, you can be a sponsor, maybe you're a presenter, maybe you're a volunteer, or you're a board member, or it's a not-for-profit, which is great. And you're just trying to raise funds. But I love that we're really speaking about a combination of events. We've spoken about outdoor events, indoor events, family-friendly events. And Michael, I'm sure I'm missing something.
Yeah, and that's the pleasure of having like a partner in crime here, is that we really bounce out things off of each other and fill in when necessary. Even when the LinkedIn gremlins are out there, and they do pop up from time to time. But yes, we've talked about, I mean, anniversaries. What was there was something else, like the difference between professional events and things that are more personal events and parties, and how to use those things to know which ones to put on, and knowing knowing your audience too. So some wonderful lessons that we've come across in our time in putting these Event Alchemy LinkedIn audio events together.
I love that you're reminding us of the real mix, and a lot of it's come down from the amazing guests who joined us on stage, and others is the planning part of this, the intentionality of you have a goal at that event, the hybrid event that I mentioned before. I had 17 goals. I was really lucky to hit 14 because I'm not an event planner. I only plan my own events. And it's I'm happy to help people at events, and we provide concierge services at live events and do a lot of consulting for hybrid events or virtual events or the mix. But the that part about when to hire somebody and how to select a professional or other people to partner and collaborate with, even to network with at an event. I really was honored to finally meet Michael live at a networking event where he was presenting by amazing Denise Haran, and she's hosting some stellar events online and in person, and she's got an upcoming retreat, which is really kind of cool.
Oh yes, I'm glad you mentioned. Yeah, Denise. Denise is someone I've been working with, and she launched her national sales platform community called Sales Club USA, and uh, we've had so many different topics that she's come up with, and had speakers talk about leadership, marketing, business strategy, communications, um, and in helping her with her events, it's kind of nice to get some of these takeaways from Event Alchemy, and then you know apply it to real world situations with webinars, and some of the ways that I can support my clients. So that's been really helpful.
It is great too because I love not only that Denise's events bridge the live or the virtual, but one of my clients popped into one of our event Alchemy, and they had just had a large conference. A lot of times when working with clients of different sizes and people are trying to figure out where to network or how to, kind of maximize their resources, I encourage them when they can to participate in events by membership associations. And just like you would participate in an event from a local chamber, or maybe it's an outdoor fair or festival. But I'd have to say the largest one of our clients participated in, I think it was called the Big E. It was a 17-day festival
Mm.
in in New England, where people exhibiting had to, at the end of the day, turn in their cash received, like a report, and that's how the event organizer got paid. They got a percentage of your receipts that day. What I thought was interesting was the navigating. This was an indoor event, but our client ended up driving an RV to the property so that she was the princess and driving an RV, so she had a base of operations for her team members to chill out when they weren't on at the event. And it was a gigantic outdoor festival with like 30 to 50,000 people sometimes during a weekday. I mean, it was just absolutely outrageous. And all She was selling pretzels, so we really helped her with the strategy. The fun part was she took the RV, so her dogs had a chance to chill out in the RV, get walked, get some exercise during the day. So sometimes you have a unique set of goals and challenges around your events, and it was a pleasure to sit and work with her and about how she was training her team. Uh,
Mm.
and so really probably that's the high end, but the client who had popped into Event Alchemy was in a 1 day show for a membership association. And the exhibitor guide had explained their presentation space as a 20-foot by 10-foot space. So they had designed the perfect display to fill it. And when the union delivered their materials to the venue, their space was 20 feet long and they didn't have 10 feet deep. So here you have all these materials. And I loved it because Michael and I, one of the shows we did was on adaptability and flexibility.
Hmm.
And we were like, this would have been a perfect example. Here's all your stuff, all your furniture, all your materials, your lighting, your electricity, your gifts, your everything. They ended up with a teeny little coffee table and some ottomans around it. And their display ended up being put in another area and kind of showcased whenever the presenter spoke, but it wasn't what they were expecting. And I think that's been the fabulous part of speaking with people popping in for events and for our discussions is the wealth of knowledge and experience and the flexibility part. You know?
Hmm. Indeed. In reflecting back on, putting this audio event together and doing this series, you know, yes, there's certainly lessons learned about events, but I was thinking the other day that I learned a whole lot about the whole process of, putting together um, uh, an audio event like this, trying to create a community for people to join us and have some conversations. There were some interesting lessons learned. I wanted to share a few of those and get your thoughts and see what you think.
Oh, please share away.
Sure. So, in doing this, so far, I've been learning how to brainstorm better, because we have limited time. We have an hour to, for our show when we do this, but we don't, it's like we have an hour, but we really don't have an hour. We have, less than that because we obviously don't want to talk the whole time, but we want to come up with a topic that's going to keep not just us talking, but get other people to talk. So it involves some brainstorming for sure. The other thing I was thinking about, it gets us familiar with the technology. So getting familiar with the reactions and when to use them, when not to use them. Um, Also, like I've noticed that certain browsers work better with LinkedIn than others, you know, um, and just having like a Google shared Google sheet and putting our ideas together outside of this as the planning, that helped. Utilizing that was fantastic, and I learned a great deal there. Um, and really learning each other's process or learning this process, but learning each other's styles. So, Mel, you definitely have a style. I have a style, and it's like now I'm listening more and anticipating for when you're going to switch it over to me so I can be prepared to say something and not say hamana hamana hamana, so learning each other's styles and just kind of being prepared for the unexpected. That's the other thing I learned. What about you, Bill?
That's so funny because I think, and some people do this behind the scenes. We've been at other events where they're communicating on another platform to kind of stay in touch. And one of the things I love is us having a Google Doc. Occasionally, I can put notes in there. But the thing is, after almost 20 events, Michael and I could be on different pages. So the note may not be seen. You could type a note unless you had a chance to highlight it or send it or put it in a certain bit. And what I love is it's not about staying in touch via text message or WhatsApp. We're really present with, and I love it, as Michael calls it, our listening lounge. And amazing Shel Shapiro was talking about that the other day. She loved that. She says, "You both call it the listening lounge." I love that. I've never heard that in a LinkedIn audio. And what I love is the willingness of people just to pop up with tips. I hmm, I'm a teacher's kid, and the pages of notes just incredible. But I think also the fact that, oh, and thank you so much. And we are somebody who says our segues are beautifully seamless. We want to thank you for that, Dell, and also for your support. And Dell is traveling far. I think, Dell, one of the interesting parts about doing this is, as Michael says, the lesson in communication. As professionals, we've all got different styles. We're collaborating with people, different talents, and uh, and different different stages. I joked about Michael saying he's from the Bronx, and I say the Bronx, you know, and it can be just a little teeny thing. But I think the thing that I love about it is the fact that we can kind of really talk about anything, and our guests feel that comfort too. We had a guest join us last week who spoke about the challenges of being in events in seasons of grief, which is something I've really understood the challenges of during an extended season of gratitude, grief, and growth. 2 days we went live. Those were two of the most memorable days in my family's history. And having Michael there was just, thank God. I want to really thank God in the heavens for sending you my way. But I think that the reminder, it's really about our communication at events, during events, in between events, after events, for events. But I think it's also a reminder of the challenges of communication when you're on site at an event, when you are on short sleep. Someone forgot something. Somebody is a volunteer who didn't necessarily have an opportunity to show up to support somebody, or materials you were looking at. I forgot business cards at like my first chamber expo, totally pre-set up the next day, the previous day. And here's the day, and I don't have a single business card. And I was on LinkedIn. If I had thought about it, that was probably the day to say, "Hey, you search nearby," or check out my LinkedIn profile. But I think the comfort levels of navigating audio and hosting with one set of controls at the moment, and hopefully we'll fix that after I rebrand shortly, which is in the works. So thank you for supporting that. The LinkedIn sometimes throws you out of your events. I've been kicked out of LinkedIn Lives I host, out of LinkedIn audios. And I think if you're on LinkedIn and the LinkedIn gets, people like to call it glitchy, it can really, really test your comfort zones and expand your skill sets. Michael is his technical and professional competencies. It's fun to rise to that level in areas where, hey, I would never have tried this before. And I got kicked out one day of a LinkedIn audio, and Michael has no controls to be able to bring anybody up to have a conversation. And I asked him later, how are you doing? What happened? He's like, this is kind of interesting. It was just me for a little bit.
Yes, yeah, you totally have to, how they say, just kind of go from the cuff, improvise sometimes, and I think that's important. Even as entrepreneurs, it's like I feel like that's like one of the biggest skills to improve and work on is, how do you improvise when you might have planned for something to go a certain way and it didn't, and how do you make that moment not fall apart, or Make it so that you still get to accomplish those goals when you didn't have all the tools in front of you, or things didn't work out as planned. How do you improvise and, come up with things, to solve that problem? So yeah, that was a great lesson right there that day for sure.
In very good, capable. I think that's also the thing. Sometimes with an audio room, especially the mix of styles, the mix of presentation styles,
Mhm.
and as Michael was mentioning, the mix of our communication styles. Really grateful for that. Um, I also love that meeting in person. I noticed that next live after we met in person, we were laughing this wonderful, relaxed laugh. Like Karan says, sometimes there's nothing really about an in-person experience. It's the ultimate icebreaker of, I'm like, oh my gosh, look at him, and it was probably really very funny. It was a wonderful, relatively intimate networking event at a fabulous restaurant. And oh yeah, Karan. But I think live does too. Karan says virtual demands that you think quick on your feet. It does if something's going wrong, a mic doesn't work, your caterer is late. There was an indoor event where it was 95 degrees during the day, and the venue did not turn on the air conditioning until an hour and a half before the event started, and their kitchen was warm, and the sterno they lit was even warmer. So their presenting sponsor, she ended up getting another sponsorship out of it because it shouldn't have happened. And the person hosting, maybe a call to the venue. Hi, is the air conditioning on? Will our guests be comfortable? Will there be enough, beverages or hydration? I remember them laughing because the venue thought that that was a day they were going to have an open bar. No one even bought a beer. It was that hot. No one even bought a beer. Just pitchers and pitchers of water, and actually they ran out of ice. So it
Wow.
really was an It was an interesting day. Interesting day.
So Mel, I'm sure we have people here that are quite familiar with Event Alchemy, and maybe there's some folks, they've heard us talk about the benefits of having creating events for your business, your organization, or just being a part of the event creation or planning experience. But I wonder, you think we have some folks here that are not quite as sold on the benefits of creating events?
Yes, some people I think it's an expensive investment to either attend them,
Hmm.
to host them, to sponsor them. I was having a discussion recently with a collaborator who will be a guest in a couple of weeks, and they're trying to figure out transportation wise how they're going to travel cross country with their family to an event. They've already invested in the conference. So they're not a presenter, they're not a sponsor, but it's a chance to collaborate and really expand to maybe take their business to the next level. And I think sometimes that first time of doing the massive ones, there's a real hurdle. I remember my first conference out of state, and I wasn't sure about the investment. And at the time, I was working full time and in the same industry. So I had to be really careful when I was traveling because back then, people would in the industry, they compared the databases. So I think that person who's not really sure, is this the right thing for me from an investment level, from a participation level? I need to be bigger. I need to not be a solopreneur. I need to have my own business. I need to have a business card. I need a brochure. I need a this. I need a new do. I need a new car. Whatever the I need part. I think part of that wall part of being able to explore events is trying to show up curious in a way that you and your team and your collaborators that you can kind of create magic and create lasting experiences for your ideal future clients or for yourselves. I'm really excited also in this process that Michael and I are trying to live today. And now there's a recording that others can consume, share, pop into, uh, and and share their events. And there's now like a permanent record of it. One of the things that I love too is that our next upcoming live, which is actually our 20th LinkedIn audio, which is Event Alchemy, Keys to Being an Effective Event Leader. As Michael would say, for those who are not quite sure or not quite ready, or how do I align my team up? And one of our amazing guests is trying to plan a college reunion with a little bit of support from the Alumni Association, maybe not enough yet, and they're now in a leadership role. But Michael, any more on that, and any news flashes of what's next? What do you think?
Yeah, thanks, Mel. Yeah, that's a great segue into our next event, Alchemy, this Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern. Yeah, keys to being an effective event leader. Um, Leadership, I think, is a topic that comes up in a lot of different ways. In technology, of course, in communications, marketing, certainly a nonprofit and nonprofit world. But related to events, I think leadership does play a huge role, and we're going to be getting into that this coming week. And just thinking about like someone's leadership skills coming into play so that they can help their team achieve some goals related to this event. And whether you're new to this or you've been doing it for a number of years, I always tell folks, start somewhere. Maybe the event that you create this year is not what you want. Maybe ideally 5 years from now, you have, big dreams and big hopes, but start somewhere, start small. Maybe you only have a small set of resources today, but, put it on paper, start small, start somewhere. Some of us start by accident. We're all of a sudden creating, a virtual networking group, uh, like myself throughout the Hudson Valley. I started by accident because someone said, "Hey, you know what you should do? Or you should try," and they gave me an idea, put it in my head, and out came this group that's almost about 1,000 members. And so sometimes you're just starting by accident, but really, once you do that, then how do you take those skills and truly become a leader in that area? So we'll be talking about that this week on the 8th. Next week, we're going to be talking about generating momentum, which, if my memory serves me correctly, didn't we kind of broach that topic before, Mel?
We started speaking about momentum, but sometimes the inference is you're participating in someone else's momentum. And, just like was mentioning my first hybrid event, one of the goals was to start a YouTube channel. And I thought it was an easy lift. I had a amazing video production expert who was joining me, and he had a childcare issue. You sometimes are trying to generate momentum, and your plan A needs a plan B, which needs a plan C. And just that process of really feeling like you have the traction. One of our amazing guests popped in before hosting her first retreat, and she joins us. We normally meet for 3 weeks out of every month. We took June off for the right reasons, and during this time, she hosted her event, and it was fantastic to hear her from where do I begin to how do I begin to I've invited collaborators in to how as, and I love it because Michael said it last week. People say, and the language sometimes we are concerned about because kids are around. How do I get butts in seats? And that might have a different perspective on it than a lot of other people in the event industry. I think about return on engagement, return on energy, so what I call ROE, and Rue, which, okay, I'm ready to go to Australia and hang out with Martin Stark and Roy Kowarski in a minute. But Rue, I think of as return on opportunities and objectives. And we need to measure different things sometimes in that process of generating momentum. And it may mean something different to your team member, to your guests, to your sponsors, to your exhibitors, to other people volunteering with you. Andrea Dixon, how are you? Welcome. Welcome. I hope you had a chance to pop into Michael's amazing retail presentation. Andrea is celebrating Andrea, this is your third anniversary, I think. And she just opened a retail location. Some really big, amazing steps from Tony Ann Organics. Fantastic product line. I'm delighted to be a client as well as not just a cheerleader, but I was delighted to share Michael's. Oh yes, it is three. It is three. Congratulations. But I was delighted Michael had an event on how to prepare and how to support I'm messing up the name, Michael. So what was the name of your amazing event?
Thanks, Mel. Ways to drive retail in-store visits and increase sales.
And it was Michael actually held the same event at two different times on the same date, which I thought was fantastic. You might have had a part-time shift, or you had a chance to join before you opened your doors or before the mall opened, or a chance after you're cashing out at the end of the day. I think one of the lovely things about events is they do, besides giving you an opportunity to generate momentum, you have a chance to generate flexibility. And Andrea, if you didn't have a chance to check this out, I will put you in touch with Michael so that you can you're both in Illuminations group. So Michael will see the chat and he'll pop in on LinkedIn. But Michael, besides our 20th LinkedIn audio this week, we have another date we've saved, although we haven't picked the time. Should we share the secret? What do you think?
I think we should share the secret.
Okay. I'll let you do the honors.
All right. So thank you, Mel. The thing that we have planned, this is a special treat. We've started with the LinkedIn audio event. We're doing this live stream here. What we'd like to do now is move to creating our first webinar for Event Alchemy. We'll be talking about the keys to effective leadership. And that's going to be in September 10th, I believe we have the date for. And the great thing about this is that we'll really get a chance to, and we love LinkedIn, of course. LinkedIn, we definitely love this platform that you're providing for us, but we're gonna take this to a different venue, if you will, and try this in the webinar land, possibly through Zoom, and really make this more interactive where we can get people to raise their hands, hear their voices, maybe see them on screen, which is going to be a different type of interaction that we haven't experienced with Event Alchemy. And we're going to be able to utilize real-time chat like in webinars do, like normal webinars do. So we're imagining that we're going to have a lot of folks at different parts of their careers, in different parts of their entrepreneurial journey, talking about or curious about effective leadership as it relates to events and business and being an entrepreneur.
Definitely. And we welcome also, one of the cool parts, is Michael saying it about the webinar, is having people also from all different industries, all different stages of business, all sorts of different types of event experiences. People like amazing Andrea and happy anniversary and happy Monday. But Andrea is 3 years in business. She's graduated from, kiosks and participating at other events, and her retail approach. She's got an online component, but she's got a retail approach. She does live streams to share new products. I was honored her first year. She invited me to join her for an amazing, energetic celebration. Andrea, that was wonderful. I was at a mini family reunion, and it's funny because we have one coming up this week. But it was a mini family reunion with people will laugh, spades games in the background, and a pool on the other side. And I'm in, our bonus uncle's office, enjoying Andrea's amazing celebration with fabulous music and lots of energy. Great music, Andrea. I do remember that. And fabulous speakers. And I was just honored to be invited in. I think sometimes, as Michael says, when we're starting to really select, and I wasn't sure why I was there at first, but man, the energy was off the chain. And from having seen her from an evolution perspective, invite people in you want to hang out with, and invite people in you want to get to know, who have the right energy for you and for your clients. And Michael and I will share more information shortly about the webinar, and Thursday's event will be up shortly. And thank you, John, for joining us from Kenya. You are definitely, good morning, and you are definitely catching us and traveling the farthest today. And we're sending prayers as you're suggesting. And we want to thank you for sharing the needs of your orphanage as part of the comment stream. And we'll look forward to weighing in shortly. Michael, as you would say, almost time to land this plane. Anything you'd like to leave people with as we're getting ready to close out?
Yeah. A couple of things I wanted to mention. First thing is, it's been a pleasure to do these in LinkedIn audio events, and now we're going to be doing these webinars, and we've done, so all of this has been a great learning opportunity for me, and I'm having a blast working with you and being your partner in crime for these events. So it's been a pleasure. Thanks, Mel.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure thing. The second thing I want to say too is really as a message to all of you folks, and just a quick reminder. You probably know this already, but Mel and I are here as a resource for you. By all means, we are certainly approachable. We're not just two-dimensional folks on the screen. We love to hear what kinds of things you're running into. We'd love to find ways that we can help you or offer up ideas or tips or pieces of advice. Some folks may not want to be on live stream and present some of their, issues. So we are available, and here for you. So that's want to remind people. Please connect with us, and let's get connected. Let's chat,
and let's keep these wonderful, rich dialogues going. And Michael, until our real 20th live anniversary on Thursday, looking forward. I'll have to think of a new glass. We'll have to get something that definitely sounds like we're clinking, I guess. The clinking glasses, the emoji, a little one step farther. But thanks everybody for joining us today. And we hope you stay safe, stay well, stay inspired, stay in touch, stay cool if you're in these interesting temperatures. Somebody online this morning was in Johannesburg. She was in a winter coat. I'm telling you, we're having such opposite weather, and I hope you're staying. Really, just take great care, and we hope you have a magnificent day filled with opportunities and possibilities. Until we meet again on Event Alchemy or for Impossible Live. Stay well and save the date for our webinar. Take great care. Thanks again, Michael.
Thank you, Mel. Thank you, everyone. Bye.